According to cryptozoologist and author Ron Coffey of the Bluegrass State, Pike County, in the far eastern part of Kentucky, suffered a small outbreak of Mothman-type reports during August of 2008. Ron received his information from an elderly farmer named Israel Crane, who claimed that he was chased one night by a 6-foot-tall, owl-looking creature that shrieked at him while bobbing its head back and forth. Crane told Coffey that the first encounter he had heard about allegedly involved a local woman who was out walking her dog one evening around 10. Without warning, the woman's loyal pooch began to act nervous, and after a moment, it became shockingly clear why. As a creature of immense proportions appeared before them in menacing fashion. Coffey's book, Kentucky Cryptids, gives Crane's recollection of the creature. It stopped and looked straight at me. It had giant red glowing eyes. It must have been over 7 feet tall. I ran as fast as I could back to the house with the dog howling the whole way. The monster was supposedly seen later that same evening by a police officer who drove up on the figure as it was standing in the middle of the thoroughfare he was patrolling. When the deputy exited his patrol car to confront what he had assumed to be a man, the entity turned to face him, and the officer realized that it was something freakish in nature. At that point, shots were fired, but they evidently had no effect on the being. Sadly, Coffey tells me that this contact, Mr. Crane, passed away recently. Despite his reluctance to let his story go public, it is worth retelling here. Still, we must always be cautious with regard to accounts that stem from a single source, and Coffey was unable to track down any of the other witnesses. Shortly before I traveled to Monterrey in 2009, a university student from La Junta, Guerrero, Mexico, claimed that he had a terrifying encounter with a winged humanoid while driving home from school on the evening of Friday, March 6th. Traveling on a remote thoroughfare, the young man had noticed something hunched down on the side of the road ahead of him that resembled a man huddled beneath a blanket. When he tapped on his brakes to take a look, the figure rose up, took 2 leaps forward, and unfurled enormous bat-like wings, taking flight. The monster allegedly chased the student for about 15 minutes, peering into the passenger side window of his speeding car. The student's description of the entity was quite chilling. About 6 feet tall and man-like with red bloodshot eyes, 2 sets of wings, larger in front, smaller in back, and diminutive kangaroo-like arms that it held loosely, as if they were lacking in strength and substance. Its entire face appeared to be covered in fur, and its forehead was dome-shaped. As we can see, the new millennium has ushered in a whole new age of flying humanoids that, for the most part, are lacking the wings and animal-like characteristics of their predecessors. These so-called aeronauts, or whatever they are, appear to possess supernatural abilities and a covert agenda that involves frightening the living daylights out of anyone that is unfortunate enough to cross their path.